Hey out there, admins, how we doing? Beginning of a new Moose year. I was going to try to make this video fairly short since I gave you such a long one last week, but it may not happen that way. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly though. Today is May 2nd. So the Moose numbers right now, they take time to get rolled over the membership numbers because of paying on through your LCL or if a member goes and pays online. So those numbers are not out just yet. I'm recording this fairly early in the morning on Monday. So um, when those numbers do come through, I'll let all the lodges have an all stat for the new year so they can kind of plan their year out and see where they need to get for as far as membership numbers and giving to Moose charities, things like that. And I'll go over that in the future video. Again, we had a lot of lodges waiting till the last minute to try to get their numbers, and then they're calling me, texting me, emailing me wanting numbers. And I don't mind doing that to a certain degree, but when we have all year to try to get those numbers, especially come the 1st of April, where we can kind of see where we're at, instead of waiting till last Wednesday to try to figure out if they need to, where they're at retention and getting people. Again, those all stats go out, or the weekly stats go out on Monday, so you have those to look at to kind of gauge what you need to do. And what happens when you guys go on in LCL to pay for dues, or if a member goes online to the website, it takes a few days sometimes for that to process through, 2, maybe 3 days. That's why the numbers for the end of the year probably won't come out till the middle of the week, probably, and then we'll let everybody know where we stand on that, because we got to give those time to process, because there may have been somebody paying on the website on Saturday afternoon or something like that. We got to get that time to process. Anyways, that may also affect weekly stats only because I don't know yet. But since it's May 2nd, I don't know if they have the true ending numbers for last year. So the new active line, or I mean, ending as of April 30th, 2022, that first line in weekly stats may either be blank or off for the first week. There may not even be weekly stats come out this week. I don't know yet. It's too early to determine it. I can't honestly remember what I did last year, being the first time that I started doing weekly stats. It is a new campaign. Please remember, everybody, pull down the Stronger Together signage that needs to come down, those membership roster totals and sponsor sheets. We need to have the new campaign out. I'll be out looking for that as I come along. Some lodges were up on it and already had it up this past week, knowing they weren't going to do any more with the old campaign. Also, while we're talking about that, it has been conveyed to field staff to pass on the information that there are lodges that are doing murals and outside on the building, inside the building, getting new signage made up that says One Moose. Please remember that One Moose was just a one-year campaign, kind of like Stronger Together, Growing Our Future, all those kind of raise the roof so people have been around for a while. That's just a one-year campaign. We are just the Moose. We're not One Moose. One Moose was a term we used for the merger. It was a one-year campaign, but we're not called One Moose, so we don't want that going on signage or anything like that. Moose International is having that taken down if that's being put outside somewhere or on actual permanent signage, because we don't want to be called the One Moose. We're just the Moose. Just passing that along. Hopefully we won't have to talk about it too much more. I don't know of anybody in my territory that's done something like that, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Real quick, I'm not going to go over them because we've been talking about it quite a bit lately, but a reminder, you can now start your 990s. That needs to be started. Get with your CPA, start your processes. Do not wait until the last minute of September, because it becomes a hassle. Let's start it this coming week or two. All right. As a reminder, all your new officers, they need to be put into LCL, but they won't be able to do it for a few days. Again, that's just that transition period. I'll let you guys know when you can put them in. Probably be the 1st of next week, maybe by the end of this week. Just depends on getting those numbers and stuff written in there. But if you try to do it today, I don't believe it'll let you put it in there. Also, as a reminder, Officers, lodge officers, all elected officers have to have lodge leadership training. They have 60 days to get that done. If they're a brand new officer, they definitely have to get that taken. There are some in-person classes, which I always suggest for first timers because they can ask questions and learn so much more that way. But if they've already had it before or they've been an officer before, they just have to remember they have to have that training once every 3 years. So we need to check and see if they need to do it again. The online version is perfectly fine with that. I'm also okay with us as groups getting together and working together to help each other pass those tests. Again, we're not asking you to cheat, but if there's a group of you working together, that is okay. You can't have sit down and try to take the test all together at the exact same time because the questions are going to be shuffled around. But again, you guys can work together and try to help each other. You have plenty of time to take that. You can take that test as many times as you need to also. One last reminder also on that part, remember that all men members have to be Moose Legionnaires, and if they're not, you can't put them in the system because it'll say the person's not eligible to be an officer yet. And for women, they have to be a member of a chapter. So for chapter members, they have to be a chapter member somewhere. So even if their lodge doesn't have a chapter, they have to either be a member of All Heart or a nearby chapter. Again, if their lodge dues aren't current, their chapter dues aren't current and won't be able to go in the system. So they also have the same as training. Men members have 60 days to join the Moose Legion. Women have 60 days to join a chapter if they're not already a chapter member somewhere. We're waiting to the last minute on this also, and there was no sense in it when you had officers that knew they were going to run since February and they were uncontested and they knew they were going to get in the office. They should have already been on started that path and already got that going. We're going to be fairly strict this year about that for people who are not in a higher degree being removed from office. Also, lodge safety inspection form has been available for 2 weeks. You have until the end of the month to get that done. Very few lodges have done that. I've only got like 2 or 3 lodges that have started it. We need to go ahead and get that started. It's very important. Again, print that up. Have your trustees help you get it done. There's some information on there that's insurance and things like that. You'll have to pull up the information and fill out, but the other stuff, they can help you, and it won't take very long if you do it together as a group. Then go back in and put that information in electronically into LCL because, again, that like times you out after an hour or so. So it's easier to print it up, fill it out, then come back and put it back in. One last reminder on that is if it's not done on time, your risk pool insurance does get a modifier, and that means it goes up by 10%. That's just the insurance company does it that way because it hasn't been reported on time and you haven't done your due diligence to make sure that the lodge is safe. And that's their only way of a recourse is saying, well, we don't even know what you've done in the lodge, so we're just going to up your insurance on that. Also, there will be very soon the lodge survey that I normally do in the lodge will be coming up. They've told us it'll probably be available to us possibly by mid-May, maybe a little bit later, but I'll let you guys know when that comes up. And I'll give you guys notice of when I'm going to be in your lodges for that. If anybody wants to volunteer, you're always welcome to volunteer. I'll put out that email and see if anybody wants to be the first ones. There's usually a handful that wants to get it, that has been through the process, wants to get it over, and is willing to bite the bullet and have me come in and get it out of the way. Something we will be talking about next week is suspensions in the lodge. We have a lot of lodges doing it incorrectly, and I don't want to make this a really long video, so I'll wait and save that till next week. So this will be the cliffhanger for next week. But we have lots of lodges doing suspensions incorrectly, and that can affect a lot of things. That can affect someone staying suspended. That can affect actual legal issues if lodges are trying to get rid of a troublemaker in the lodge, and they haven't done suspensions right or done their due diligence in keeping records of those suspensions. Moose International will not remove them as a member from the organization. Also, when it comes down to legal matters, when we have this going on more than one lodge right now, where the person they were trying to get rid of, and they didn't do a suspension correctly, and Now, there are other legal matters happening in the lodge because of this individual, and they weren't suspended right, so that suspension didn't count. Again, I'll go in detail about that next week, but you guys can always look in section 48.8 in the general laws. Again, that's 48.8 on how to handle that and do that correctly. I have a few things I like to add to it, which I'll do next week. Sorry, it's 10 minutes. Y'all take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye.